I am so sorry to have missed so many episodes, but it's pilot season. This is so weird. I explained it before. It's just a really busy time for just anybody in the industry right now, especially if you're working in TV. So it's just been really, really busy, and I've been trying to get these reviews up. I've been watching them and taking notes. I'm sorry, there's a party going on in my living room, so everybody is really loud. But I wanted to get this up to you, so please bear with my ghetto family. Anyway, it's just been very, very busy, and I have been watching the shows and taking notes. I just have not had time to film and edit. So what I will do is catch up with you with just some things that I wanted to discuss concerning the last episodes, and then I'll finish out the review with this current episode. So let's get into it. I see Liberty got cut on the Pride episode. Catch the shade. Christina is a damn lie. First of all, there's no such thing as a Philly suburb. I'm from Philly. You're either from the city of brotherly love or you're from the outskirts. A lot of people from the outskirts want to claim Philly because where they're from is whack. I understand. But what you're not going to do is put your name on my city and say you're from a Philadelphia suburb. There is no such thing. And the area where she's from, that area is ghetto. The only reason why she would probably call it a suburb is because it's desolate. There's like farmland there. But those people are hood, they're ghetto, they're ratchet. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm all three of those things and then some. But for her to sit up there and try to act like she's from this prim and proper area, you know, that's a certain sect of Philadelphia, doesn't exist. And the area that she's talking about where she's from, no, it's a bunch of Quakers there too, but they're ghetto as hell as well. So I don't know what she's talking about. She's trying to pull one over on people, but there is no such thing as a Philadelphia suburb. And if Christina is from it, she is putting on a voice and she is putting on a persona, because that is not how those people from that area live or act. She's a damn lie. Don't let her fool you. Sandra, she was an honorable mention to my top 3 or 4, I believe. But I kind of knew that she was going to go soon. Like, I knew it was going to happen eventually, because the thing about it is the runways and the high fashion, like the couture, you know, those kind of designers are not looking for Instagram models. And Instagram is just a totally different ball game, because especially when a woman is beautiful, especially when she's posing kind of a half naked. I've seen Sandra's Instagram. It's a lot of bikini pics, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you got it, sis, and you feel comfortable flaunting it, do you. However, the, you know, couture fashion community or the high fashion community are not horny teens. You know what I mean? Are not like some horny teen boys who are liking your pictures because they're imagining you being their girlfriend while they wake up from a wet dream. Like, that's not the same as Gavinci. You know what I mean? Rest in peace. You know what I mean? Like, so I understand her having an issue because she has all these followers and she gets all these likes on her pics, but that just doesn't transfer to high fashion model. She has a great face. If she can find some kind of no shade soul, she can really kill it. If she works on her walk, get them hips together, she got a beautiful face. If she learns how to smile and really pose and use that body in that bone structure, she could go far. She could have a lucrative career, but there has to be some tweaks. She has to learn, you know, how to go from Instagram to, you know, Vogue. And I think that's her issue. She doesn't know how to get there because she's received so much applause, you know what I mean? Like, from people who don't really, sad to say, matter in the high fashion community. So I'm wondering, how much did they pay Rio to be the villain this season? Because this quick change to her just being awful is confusing. We didn't see any of that until Sandra won a competition, and all of a sudden Rio became this diabolical character. And I feel like if she was this person, wouldn't they focus on that in the beginning and not make it something like out of nowhere? That was just really weird to me, that all of a sudden out of nowhere, Rio just had this switch and she was just evil. And also, I refuse to believe that my girl Jenna is, or Gina, what is it? I can never get her name right. Jenna, I refuse to believe that she is just as awful as Rio. Although I do agree that aligning yourself with somebody so awful, to me, that's just poor judgment. It doesn't mean that you're just as awful. I feel like Jenna, or Gina, is running around trying to impress the cool girl of the school because she wants to be like that, or wants to walk with this I don't care kind of attitude, and not knowing that Rio is acting that way through insecurities. But I don't think that she's just as awful. I think that because she okays her behavior because she's her friend, or doesn't want to upset her, that people are aligning her with her and just saying, you know what, you know, she's just as awful. I don't think that she's, I don't think that she's as terrible as Rio, though. I do think she has poor judgment to align herself with somebody who's, you know, so awkwardly diabolical out of nowhere. But if that's who she is, I think that is poor judgment on her part. This episode's challenge, the girls have to do a movement challenge where they are working with a choreographer to help them move in a photo. And I think this is something very beneficial to the ladies because a lot of them don't know yet how to work their bodies for the camera. So they have a little practice and Jenna goes, and I feel like she's doing a really good job. I don't think that she's being cocky. I think that she's confident because this is something that, dance is something that she's trained in. So she wants to impress. I don't think she's showing off, but I can see where she's kind of, you know, tilling the line between, you know, cocky and confident. As long as she stays confident, I think she's fine, but we all know that cocky is confidence evil twin. So, you know, she really has to find that balance. But from what I've seen so far, I'm not getting all this stuff that Shanice is saying about her. Like, I need more receipts. Brandy, what's going on with her jaw? I thought it was chewing gum too. So now it's time for the models to take what they learned through the movement rehearsal and create a literal GIF with the choreographer hoisting them up. And Shanice goes and they're raving about her session and I just didn't really see anything. Also, the models only get one shot. And Shanice goes and he lifts her up and she like does this thing. And I'm like, I feel like this is a storyline because Shanice gets a lot of applause this episode. Nothing wrong with that. I just don't see what the judges are seeing. I'm not a judge, so maybe that's why. But I got an eye. So I just didn't get it. I didn't get it and I didn't see it. To me, I felt like her gift was poor because her eye line was on the ground the whole time. Like she never really looked up or connected with the camera and then she did like this hand thing. I don't know. I just felt like they were building her up because I don't think she's going to win the competition, but I feel like they want to take her to the end to show girls like Shanice where Shanice is from. There is hope. There's nothing wrong with that, but I would much rather have her earn it than you guys give it to her because you feel bad for her. I don't want her to be a sympathy runner-up. Gina or Jenna, I think it's Gina. She goes and I felt like she did good. She killed it to me. I love what she did. I love that pop up the collar on the leg at the end. To me, I feel like the girl is just really smart. I feel like she has stood in the mirror for years and learned how to work her body and her angles. And this just comes with practice, which is why she's killing it in a competition. Shanice is still sitting on the sideline making comments and doing confessionals about how cocky she is. And I'm like, girl, it's not that I don't want to believe you. I just feel like I'm not seeing it. And I feel like if they have all this footage and they sit there and they film you girls 24/7, if they had this footage of Gina being cocky, I felt like they would show it. I didn't see it. So for me, I'm just like, is Shanice jealous? Because that's what it's seeming like because they're not giving us footage to back that up. Then Brandy goes, and it's disappointing. I feel like Brandy is in her head and she's just checked out of the competition because she got some critiques that she can't quite get from under. You know what I mean? I feel like the critiques that she has received just have beat her down too much. She can't stand up under it, and it's really weighing on her. And I do feel bad, but then there's a side of me that gets pissed off because Brandy has received pass after pass after pass, and she is nowhere near the kind of top model to me that Cora is. And I felt like Cora had a stumble and they cut her, but they keep on saving Brandy. I feel like this is her third time being saved, and I don't know, I was just bothered by that because although I feel for Brandy, I do feel like she checks out and she complains and she whines and she's not yet mature or mentally stable to handle this competition or this industry. And I really wish they would have kept a model who was well, who just needed some work, than a model who's not well and needs a lot of work. Christiana, mother was all over the place. Rio, it was fine to me. Aaron, that brush of the chin and that smize at the end, I was like, slay the children, mother, slay the children. Kyla, she lost her way in the middle, but I think she found it in the end. However, altogether, it was not good. And I feel bad because she's somebody I'm rooting for, but whoo, that needed work. So we get more of Rio being awful, and at this point, I've just taken her out of my top. I can't root for somebody who's just awful and does not have a conscience or a soul to, like, you know, check herself and be like, you know what, I shouldn't say that. That's not right. I feel like she just revels in this evil, and I feel like she's being paid to do this because, guys, this change just happened out of nowhere. It doesn't make any sense to me. And until further notice, I'm removing Gina out of my top as well because aligning with somebody like this willingly is a problem. I feel like Gina is Rio's flunky, and that's sad because she's more bookable. Okay, so here is where we get serious about Brindy for a moment. Brindy has issues. You know what I mean? Just like, I forgot the other girl's name, but the one that had that raggedy bang. Just like Brindy, neither one of them were ready, and Brindy is just not ready for this competition. I feel like the producers chose her because of her, you know, backstory or whatever. But she has a lot of pain. She has a lot of issues that she has went through. And before she pursues a career in front of the camera or on the runway or in modeling, I feel like she needs to get that checked, because this industry is full of wolves, it's full of dark people who will take advantage of somebody so vulnerable. And I don't want her to pursue this career if she is not mentally healthy to take it on, because it can break her and it can pull her into a deeper, darker place. If you just look at past top models or past women who have made it far in the competition, you know, they have had those who have had that kind of backstory and have really struggled or had like a terrible home life, have, you know, when they haven't found the success that they wanted, have succumbed to some things that have pulled them far beyond the darkness that they endured when they were, you know, being raised in their home. So I'm kind of concerned for her, and the fact that she would choose that darkness over this competition also makes me question what is actually happening to these girls on this show. Because when she said my card was better than this, now either Brindy is just, if this is just Brindy, you know what I mean? Either she's just like a constant complainer and somebody who doesn't really take responsibility for anything, then I can get that. I totally understand that. But if she's choosing to, you know, or saying that she's going to leave because she would much rather sleep in her car than participate in this competition where they house you and feed you and pay you a stipend so that you can survive and at least attempt to pay a bill while you're there, that to me is a red flag that something is really happening. Either it's a competition or it's just Brindy's way of self-sabotage. I don't know which one it is at this point, because the girl is so broken down. And I just want to get help, because I feel like modeling will always be there. Like I said before, the industry is changing. Instagram, although it's not yet high fashion, it's leveling the playing field for a lot of people who are either shorter or wider or older. You know what I mean? There is a place for Brindy. I don't think her place is right now, because she's just not healthy to take things on. I was somebody just like Brindy, who had a lot of tragic things happen to me when I was younger, and a lot of those things came to a head once I was, you know, peaking in my career. Like, things were happening, doors were opening. I just wasn't able to handle them at the time. I wasn't mentally there to be able to take those things on. And I got scared that I would miss out on some great opportunities and set myself farther back. But then things got so bad that I was just like, you know what? Even if I never get that again, if I never have these opportunities, at least I have my sanity. I got to take care of my mind. And I sat back, I got myself together, and I was able to pursue my career healthy in mind, not yet body. I'm getting there, but this is from what I went through, okay? But so, you know what I mean? I'm able to take those things on and handle them in a mature, adult, sane way that I would not have been able to handle at that time. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I took the time to get well so that I can come back and kill it and not miss it again. So they'll always be there. If something is for you, it will always be there. So I feel like she needs to step back, get herself together, and if she still wants to do it, pursue it. Because if it's for you, girl, it'll come to fruition. It definitely will. Whatever is for you is for you. Nobody can take it and nobody can stop it. You are the one who is over your destiny. There are things set before each and every person for them to get to the next level, for them to achieve, for them to break down and fight and defeat and move forward and make them a better person, so that they can not only help others, but that they can also help themselves in a healthy way. And I feel like Brindy is somebody who can do that for her community. She's a part of so many different communities, and I feel like there are a lot of people rooting for her and looking up to her. So I think if she just gets well and do what she needs to do to get healthy and come back, the girl will kill it. I know she will. I really, really do. So I hope she gets well, to be quite honest with you, because it's not easy. I've been there, sis. I've been there. I get it. So when Gina was complaining about getting hit, I felt really bad, and I was just like, oh girl, get off this show and sue it. Then when we saw the receipts of the tent not even touching her, I was like, Gina, what's going on, sis? What are you doing? Like, are you actually as awful as Shanice has been calling you and we just haven't seen it yet? Because this is something right here that an awful person would do. This little slick, little shady thing. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. At the photo shoots, and Brindy does really well. I was not expecting that, but I feel like a lot of times when people are going through it, they pull out their best performances because a lot of times the champion goes before you while the real you is just in there healing. So this was probably her just picking herself up and just, you know, just doing it, and probably on like autopilot, you know what I mean? I felt like she was there but not really there, but she was showing up strong because she had to do the job. And that's what happens with a lot of people sometimes when you're like going through it and you don't really have the energy to pull through, but you know you have to do something. You send your warrior in to handle that task, and I felt like that's what happened with Brindy. Kyla was okay. Christiana, I felt like she was struggling with that wind machine because her and them lashes was just going. She couldn't get it right. She couldn't get it right. Aaron was okay. I didn't see anything really like that wowed me, and by the time she went, she was doing an arm pose that everybody was doing, and I was kind of over it. So I was just like, all right, girl, take the pick and get out of there because nobody is really bringing anything new to this. Rio, I liked how she modeled the jewelry. I just felt like the dress was ill-fitting. I don't think she sold it. Shanice, so surprised. Like, she was the first model that actually gave us levels. I felt like she's really feeling herself and really being confident because she's doing well. And I think that's what you need sometimes, especially when you come in as like an underdog. And she ended up doing really well. To me, she was the best. I don't know how her photos turned out, but she was really just doing it and giving us poses and levels. And I was so surprised that she was the only one to do that. So then we get to Gina, and I just felt bad because Drew called her a dance mom pageant girl or something he called her, and I just hollered because everything she was giving, I wasn't high fashion, and she really needed them shoes. I wish she would have listened to Drew because she did re-short. There's nothing wrong with being short. Just have to be styled correctly, and Gina was styled for somebody who was tall because she was swallowed by the dress, she was swallowed by the balloon. It just, it was a no from me. Now we get to judging. I love me some Drew and Tyra, but I did not see everything they were seeing in that photo with Shanice. I felt like they were milking it and pushing it a bit. It just, their reaction for me did not match the photo that we saw. Now, I do agree with them uplifting her, and I actually teared up when Tyra said to Shanice that there are going to be so many girls looking at you and looking at your Instagram, looking at you doing high fashion modeling and seeing themselves and seeing hope. That's true, and I believe it. Like I said before, I just don't want her to be a sympathy win or a sympathy runner up. Let's be fair here and let's judge all the pictures, you know, fairly. And I just felt like her picture, the way they were going off, it was an okay picture. It wasn't something that like wowed me. To be quite honest with you, none of the pictures wowed me. I was disappointed in all of them for what the outfits that they had and the scenery and the prop. They could have given us something so amazing, and none of them delivered, in my opinion. For instance, Erin, who looked great at judging panel. Like, she looked sickening, right? Her photo. Why was she looking away? Like, I get it if the look away is intentional, but it wasn't. Like, she was looking away like a mom who had just run into one of her girlfriends from church, and she was talking to her, but she was also keeping her eye on her son who was running up down the aisles, you know, trying to know that eye, especially that black mothers give when they are trying to make contact with their child being bad, because they know that when they make contact, they're going to give them the look of death. That's what that look was for me, from Erin. I was just like, you look like you're checking for your kid. You're not smizing. What is going on here? Rio, I agree with Law. I like the long shot of her photo. Although the dress was ill-fitting, I still like the long shot. But when you close up on the picture, she does look like she's clenching her teeth and her lips. It just didn't look mesmerizing. Christiana sold the dress and the shoes for me. However, her face was all over the place. And I feel like the judges realized that maybe the fan was too much for these women. So they're letting a lot of them slide. Because if you see it, like especially with Christiana, her cheeks are like dented by the fan. These aren't good photos. They aren't good photos. And I feel like if this is the best that they could choose, they all struggle with that fan. Gina, to me, had the best photo out of poor photos. I mean, that's not saying much, but I felt like she had the best. And like I said before, there's nothing wrong with being short. And I felt like the judges weren't giving the correct, or they weren't using the correct wording or terminology when talking about her looking short. They were talking about it in a negative way, and there's nothing wrong with being short. There are tons of short people. There are tons of short people who buy clothing, like who, you know, read fashion magazines, who are fashionistas. There's nothing wrong with that. The issue is that she had an outfit that was for somebody who was taller, and because she didn't wear the shoes, she was crunched in that dress and in that balloon. That's what I felt like they should have said. They should have been like, you didn't listen to us, so this is what you look like. Something like that, then instead of scolding her for looking short. That was petty. So before judging, Brindy decides to go. Like, she breaks down in front of the judges. She doesn't think that she's well enough to handle this competition, and I respect that. I respect a girl who's just like, I'm not well, I can't continue. I understand it now. She might just be having a mood. You know what I mean? There are tons of things that I've walked away from and I've been like, oh my goodness, if I just gave myself a day, you know what I mean, or a few hours, or even if I just calmed down for about 5 or 10 minutes, I would have been able to handle that. But if you're breaking down crying 24/7 and just at the mention of anything you crumble, maybe you do need to step away, get your mind together, and come back and slay. I believe Brindy can do all of that. She has it. So get yourself together and come back and kill it, sis. We'll be here waiting to see how you slay, because we know you will. So, Shanice wins Best Photo. I don't agree. I don't agree. I don't think she had the best photo. I think Gina had the best photo. I feel like this win was storyline. Like, Shanice needed to be empowered and Gina needed to be humbled. This to me just read storyline. And I think the reason why we are having Shanice have this win and Gina be humbled in this way in this competition is because both of these girls had the best chance of winning this competition. Here's why. Shanice is a black woman, darker skinned, natural hair, with stress issues, from a poor low-income community, from a poor low-income family, from a place where people are forgotten about. She is a symbol of hope and being able to get out of a tough situation and still rise above it. She is, in a sense, America's hood sweetheart, right? Then you have Gina, who has alopecia, is multiracial, dealing with identity issues, and then having her hair being stripped away, also dealing with like a medical issue. They are two people who can really change the trajectory of this show. You know what I mean? If Tyra is going to get behind these girls, she wants to get behind people who will make her talked about, will make this show win an Emmy. You know what I mean? Either one of those winners, you're going to talk about it. The story is going to travel. You're going to see these girls on talk shows talking about themselves and the process and Tyra and thanking her. I can't see any one of the other girls really doing a press campaign and really having a story that as interesting as Shanice or Gina. That's what I think is happening here. This whole episode to me was pure storyline. I think it's very smart because if either one of them wins, the whole show wins, because you have this underprivileged girl who was able to win this competition. Then you have all of these people, especially with the move of, you know, diversity in entertainment. You really have something to get behind. Or then you have this multiracial girl with the medical issue who was able to strip herself in front of the cameras and slay this competition. Smart. Smart. So the elimination to me was really blah. I felt like, regardless of Brindy's cute picture, I felt like she was going to be eliminated anyway, because if you really just look at it, there was no other person who needed to go home besides Brindy. you really can't, like, some people didn't really do well, but a lot of people didn't do well in this photo. So you can't really pick somebody out of that group to go besides Brindy, who has been falling significantly in this competition. And I felt like they just had to scramble because they already had her going. And then when she decided to leave, it left them with this whole, like, what are we going to do? So Tyra does this thing where she does every season and she doesn't eliminate anybody, and the girls crying, you get all this emotion and all this stuff. It was really blah to me, because if you were going to do that, then you didn't have to make that whole speech that somebody was going to go home, because you didn't own up to it. You know what I mean? You didn't honor your word. So in my opinion, neither Kyla nor Gina needed to be in the bottom, but at this point in the competition, really good competitors are going to start going home, are going to be in the bottom. So just get ready, y'all, because it's going to be a bloodbath. So next week, we get to see the girls go on Ghosties and do a photo shoot with Paper Magazine. And also, I think one of the fan favorites, Shanice, may be going home, although I don't think she will because of storyline. But they're prepping it up that just may happen. And you know, when they give you a preview like that, it goes totally opposite than what they made you believe. So anyway, that's where it ends. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I tried to catch up as much as I can. I'm going to try to stay as consistent as I can, but I can't make any promises because I'm trying to stay booked and busy, okay? And if anything does come up, I will keep you guys informed about the projects I'm working on and everything when I can talk about them. But thank you guys for supporting me this whole time. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you very soon for the following episode of America's Next Top Model. Bye, guys.